I know you have some deep thoughts about the social aspects. I want to talk about the business part first, if you don't mind. Australia, obviously, the first to launch this, but as we mentioned, the U.S. and other countries are watching. What could it potentially mean for some of these platforms, as we mentioned, it's Meta, TikTok, et cetera, having restrictions or guardrails when it comes to interacting with these younger users long-term for their business models?
I think it's a great question, Frank. I think that it's a very interesting paradox here because in some senses, one would sort of the quick thought is that you ban something and that's going to hurt you. But I think there's some nuance here, and that's basically saying this. It's saying, hey, listen, if we sort of restrict a certain age group in terms of a demographic, a target market here, what's potentially going to happen is that there'll be actually more interest in that age group wanting to be on that platform. And so it's almost like this idea of you're looking at it and it's you can't have it, so you want it more. So in some senses, it may be a little bit of creating an additional latent demand from these different target markets that are younger because of this ban. And so, it's interesting that this could potentially be a very potent gateway of bringing younger consumers in, or at least heightening the amplification of their desire to be on that platform simply because of the ban. So I would think that the business model might actually be helped in this case.
All right, might actually be helped. That's very interesting. So the group we're talking about is often called Gen Alpha. They're digital native. They're growing up with the internet. They're growing up with AI and things like that. Potentially, I know you said it might be a benefit, but the fact that they won't be exposed to digital ads and some of this digital interaction, what do you think that could potentially mean for their spending habits, their social habits, and other things, which clearly social media companies are trying to influence, at least to some degree, whether it be buying things through their app or, other people advertising and trying to get you to buy things through the ads?
100%. I think that's a great point, Frank. I think that what we need to keep in mind here is that just because you take it away doesn't mean that the conversations and the word of mouth and the talking to each other in terms of Gen Alpha is going to stop. So what's going to happen is these conversations may go offline. And these conversations, which typically occur person to person, peer to peer, they're going to figure out, Gen Alpha, they're smart. They're going to figure out other ways, other channels to have these conversations. And what's going to happen is the social media piece, will be there for them to learn about through their older peers, but they're still going to continue to have these conversations. So I think it's important for the platforms to realize that they're still reachable in the sense of those communications will be second order communications that sort of filter down to Gen Alpha. And so this is going to be what we're going to see. But again, I think there's a hidden nuance here that when you take something away, you take away agency, you take away freedom, you take away psychological self-efficacy, and you make people want things more. So you got to keep an eye on that.
Okay. That's one of the things that you're actually worried about here is the removal of agency for some of these younger people. So let's get to the social aspect. Why is that concerning for you? A lot of young people, they certainly seem to define some part of themselves based on their online presence, or at least try to project something online. But why is it concerning to take that away, at least for people under 16?
Well, I think it's concerning, Frank, because in some sense, it's the mass approach, which has some benefits, right? So if you just ban something, you can look pre and post of the ban and sort of determine, well, what happened because of that ban, and then you can adjust. But I think the challenge here is that when you throw out the baby with the bathwater, you're missing some nuance here. In other words, there are positive things to social media as well, and it may be a different point of view, Frank, for the parent segment who might love this, to say, wait a minute, we don't want to just ban this for the reasons that I had mentioned earlier with respect to freedom and sort of agency. But in fact, what we should do is help kids use these platforms more responsibly, help kids use these platforms in ways that can enhance their mental health and their psychological well-being. And no one's going to argue against the idea that, seeing curated, stylized versions of things and comparing yourself to these fantasies can hurt you. But the point is, don't toss it away, because it's also an avenue to sort of create positive self-agency and self-identity. And so you want to just figure out a way. It's harder to do this compared to a ban, but you want to figure out a way to be more nuanced.
All right, we got to go. I need a yes or no. Do you ever see this coming to America where kids under 16 can't use certain social media platforms?
I don't, because I think that in America, it's like all about freedom, all about choice, all about agency, and that's what we build our platforms on.